What kind of person plants drugs in their neighbor's yard just to win a petty HOA feud? That's the question I was asking myself as red and blue lights flickered across my levying room, painting my quiet suburban life in chaos. I stepped onto my porch, heart steady but senses razor-sharp, watching Karen, the HOA's self-crowned queen, march 2 cops up my driveway. She was clutching a Ziploc bag like it was her ticket to glory, her voice piercing the night. "There it is! He's a drug dealer, caught red-handed!" she screeched, pointing at a plastic bag half buried near my mailbox. Her eyes sparkled with smug Tory, like she just cracked the case of the century. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains, some whispering, others filming on their phones. What Karen didn't know, what no one in this pristine suburban bubble knew, was that I wasn't just some guy with a desk job. I was Ethan Cole, a DEA special agent with a decade of busting cartels under my belt. Framing me with a baggie of cheap street junk wasn't just bold. It was her undoing. I bit back a laugh, my jaw tight. Karen thought she'd won. She was about to learn she'd just set her own world on fire. 2 weeks earlier, I'd moved into Willow Grove, a cookie-cutter neighborhood billed as the safest spot on the city's east side. Rows of identical houses, manicured lawns, and mailboxes shaped like little barns screamed suburban perfection. It was the perfect cover for me, laying low while working an undercover case at the nearby port. My story was bulletproof: a quiet accountant, recently transferred, no drama. The first few days were almost too calm, like the calm before a storm. Then Karen, the HOA president, strutted up in a neon pink blazer, a name tag reading Community Standards Director, pinned to her chest, a title she'd clearly invented. Her smile was all teeth, like a predator sizing up its next meal. She handed me a binder thick enough to double as a doorstop, rattling off rules about Willow Grove's standards. I nodded, polite but wary. My gut screamed trouble. Trouble didn't take long. 3 days in, a yellow slip was taped to my door, a due law 50 fine for non-compliant flora. My potted cactus, apparently a threat to the neighborhood's aesthetic. I paid it, chuckling, thinking it was a one-off. It wasn't. Citations piled up like junk mail. Grass a half-inch too long. Mailbox too faded. Trash can VY Cybele for 10 minutes after pickup. Each came with Karen's smug knock, her lips curled like she was savoring every second of my supposed humiliation. Worse, I caught her lurking outside my house at odd hours, pretending to jog but slowing by my windows. She'd yap loudly on her phone about undesirables, tanking property values. Twice, I spotted her peering into my backyard, her yappy chihuahua snarling as she crept along my fence. It wasn't just annoying, it was obsessive. My training kicked in. Karen wasn't just nosy, she was crafting a narrative, casting herself as the hero purging EVYL from her perfect kingdom. The breaking point hit on a sunny Saturday. I'd just finished mowing when I noticed fresh dirt by my mailbox, something glinting in it. Before I could investigate, Karen appeared, phone out, screaming like she'd busted a kingpin. I brushed the dirt aside, revealing a baggie with a few sad white pills. Amateur work, almost insulting. Cops rolled up minutes later, clearly tipped off by Karen, who played star witness, pointing and ranting. I played dumb, stammering about not knowing where it came from. The officers were skeptical but professional, snapping photos, bagging the EVY denke, and asking routine questions. Karen kept interrupting, claiming she'd seen shady types at my house. Inside, I was grinning. She didn't know my property was rigged with HD motion cameras, leftovers from past ops, or that my porch light hid an encrypted body cam. Every second of her planting that baggie was recorded in crystal clear detail. Her downfall was already scripted, she just didn't know it yet. As Karen performed for the neighbors, I fought the urge to smirk. Her act was so over the top, so certain of VY Tory, that she couldn't see the noose tightening. Neighbors whispered, torn between her story and my bewildered act. Perfect. They'd soon have front row seats to the most brutal takedown Willow Grove had ever seen. The cops asked Karen to step back for a private chat with me. As she sauntered off, her ponytail bouncing, her dog peed on my lawn like master, like mutt. I invited the officers inside, my real smile breaking through. Showtime. The air shifted the second we stepped into my house. The cops, cautious outside, now looked uneasy as I shut the door and crossed to my Levying room console. I pressed the hidden button behind a photo frame, and a wall panel slid open, revealing a security hub with monitors and a recording drive. Their jaws hit the floor. I grabbed my DEA badge from a concealed shelf and flipped it open. Special Agent Ethan Cole, currently undercover, I said, voice calm but firm. Their faces went from stunned to sheepish. I explained that Karen's stunt had nearly blown my cover but handed me a golden opportunity. They'd done everything by the book, I assured them, but I needed their help to bury her properly. I pulled up the footage, Karen at dawn, sneaking onto my lawn, digging a hole, planting the baggie, and scurrying off with a guilty grin. A second angle from the porch cam showed her face, smug and clear. For good measure, I shared a text from my neighbor Mike, a cybersecurity guy who'd intercepted Karen's voicemail to an HOA crony, bragging about taking down the neighborhood drug lord. It was a slam dunk. We mapped out the plan. Karen needed to hang herself further, preferably in public. I suggested an emergency community meeting, framed as a safety celebration, with Karen front and center to gloat. The officers, Martinez and Lee, agreed, promising to prep a report for the DA. I made discreet calls to my agency, looping them in. My port case was still priority, but this was too good to pass up. For the next few days, I played the rattled neighbor mowing my lawn, while VYing nervously, flinching when Karen sauntered by, smirking like she'd won. She bought it, her ego inflating like a balloon. She stood in her driveway, spinning tales to HOA loyalists about my drug empire, run from my garage. She claimed my suspiciously green lawn and lack of potluck attendance proved I was a criminal. It was unhinged, and quieter neighbors started to notice. Doubts spread like wildfire. I tightened my defenses, adding cameras and audio bugs around my yard. Every HOA Notice Emmy favorite was a due loss 60 fine for a mailbox tilting 1.2 degrees was scanned and filed. The night before the meeting, I sat on my porch, coffee in hand, running through the plan. Karen thought she was about to be crowned SAVY or. Instead, she'd be a headline. HOA tyrant busted in framed job. I pictured the families she'd bullied, the fines she'd slapped on them, the fear she'd sown. This wasn't just about might was for them. As I sipped, I caught her silhouette pacing by my fence, her dog yapping. I waved, letting her think she had me. One more night of her fantasy. Tomorrow, she'd crash. The morning of the meeting, Willow Grove buzzed like a kicked hive. Cars jammed the streets, neighbors gossiped in clumps, hyped for Karen's big reveal. She strutted through the clubhouse lot in a scarlet blazer, clutching a folder like a prop for her VY Tory speech. She didn't notice the unmarked police SUVs by the basketball court. Inside, the clubhouse crackled with tension. Chairs faced a podium draped in a flag, Karen's patriotic flex. The crowd was split, her loyalists up front, skeptics in the back. I sat near the rear, cap low, looking defeated. At 10 a.m., Karen clapped for attention, tapped the mic needlessly, and launched into a sermon about community VY violence. She cast herself as a martyr, glancing at me to drive the point home, even faking a tear about protecting our kids. Her melodrama was losing the room. People shifted, uncomfortable. Then came her big moment. She pulled out the planted baggie, now in an EVY Denke pouch, holding it aloft like a trophy. Thanks to my courage, we're safe, she declared, voice quivering with fake emotion. That was the signal. Officer Martinez stepped forward, badge flashing, announcing an active investigation. Gasps erupted. Karen froze, the baggie dangling. Officer Lee flanked her, listing charges: EVY Denke tampering, false reporting, harassment, obstruction. She tried to laugh it off, pointing at me, screaming about the real criminal. Her voice cracked as Martinez cuffed her. The baggie hit the floor with a pathetic thud. The room went silent, save for her shrieks. Neighbors gawked, phones out, recording her meltdown. As she was dragged past me, our eyes locked. Her hate met my calm. For a second, I saw her realize she'd destroyed herself. It wasn't joy I felt, just cold, pure satisfaction. Post-arrest, I handed Martinez the full EVY Denke package, footage, audio, texts. The case was ironclad. Neighbors spilled stories of Karen's rain, petty complaints, false vandalism accusations, even blackmailing the old HOA president. The board collapsed within days, replaced by a city oversight team. News hit like a bomb. Vigilante HOA chief busted in drug frame-up. Memes flooded social media. Karen's mugshot on superhero posters, captioned, "Captain Clipboard." National outlets picked it up, a quirky tale of suburban madness. Willow Grove transformed. Barbecues popped up, kids raced bikes, fear lifted. Karen's charges piled up. Her plea deal meant jail time, fines, and a lifetime ban from community boards. Her last-ditch lawsuit against me, claiming defamation, tanked when she accidentally sent incriminating texts to the court. The judge tossed it in minutes, fining her for wasting time. Life in Willow Grove bloomed. A retired nurse, Mrs. Thompson, became HOA president, promising potlucks and fairness. The clubhouse hosted game nights, not fines. I stayed, my cover intact, savoring the normalcy. One evening, as kids drew chalk art and Thompson planted roses, I sat on my porch, drink in hand. A mystery box had arrived that day, a cardboard cutout of Karen in a jumpsuit, captioned, "I got busted." Neighbors honked, laughing. I didn't gloat. Karen's prison was her own making, built on lies and hubris. Willow Grove was free, alive with messy, colorful joy. That was the win, not headlines, but truth, patience, and a community that refused to bow. As stars lit the sky, I leaned back, smiling. Whatever came next, I was ready.